Hey, everybody. So I thought we'd go through and we'd do a little bit of practice, but before we do practice, let's open it up to questions. Like if you have questions about this class, the Angel Essentials, let's go ahead and fire away. You can unmute yourself, type in. Let's go ahead and hear your questions.
Go ahead, Peggy.
Hey, Peggy.
Hello, hello, hello. Did I wrote down what you told us yesterday about it's all good, angel, and I wrote Bachiel. Is there an R after the BA? Is it
It's
BAR?
Barchie.
I wrote it wrong, and I just had it here a few minutes ago. And what does it do? It falls underneath the. So I'm going to keep going down to find it because I'm thinking I want to practice with that one.
Yeah,
So
it's a great one. It's from the Zodiac class.
really.
Yeah.
Well, I had it here. I've got all my angels up on a
Yeah.
So anyhow, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad to know I just misspelled it. So thank you. I'm real excited about the angel class. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited about all of them. I'm easy. So
That's
thank you.
a nice one. Like I find it very soothing. I don't know, like when my mind and body aren't listening to each other. You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I
Okay.
want to be in harmony with that. So thank you, thank you, thank you guys for all you do.
Yeah, I'll post that for everybody. Somebody was asking what angel.
It's Barkayal. And if you want, I mean, we're in a study group, we're not in a class. I mean, not that anything can't go in a class, but we have time restrictions while we're trying to cover the material, but this is a study group. So how about close your eyes and I'll invoke the angel Barkayal and you can see what that feels like. So check in with some part of your body somewhere that might be achy or a little agitated. Bor. Kai. Just be still. Bor. Koi. How did that feel? How did that feel for you? Yeah. You know, they're all relaxing, but it's a weird thing to say, but you'll notice they're relaxing, but they're different. They're relaxing in different ways. And, you know, we're very simple and very complex all at the same time. And there's kinds of agitation that happen in our body that modern science and psychology don't even have like an awareness of. And for the normal everyday person, you know, the energy's too subtle. But as you start to grow spiritually a bit, these different things, even if you're not aware of them, you'll notice that it stimulates certain processes in the body, in the mind, and the emotions. And you keep aligning yourself, what you would call, with the divine plan. And the divine plan is like being in alignment with divine intelligence, or the evolutionary process of intelligence. And if you do that, you're kind of riding the coattails of the divine plan, and your growth can be very rapid just because you're riding the coattails of something that's already in motion. You know, it's like jumping on the back of a fire truck and cutting across town rather than walking. It's accelerated without as much bumps and bruises along the way, you could say. You okay? I think we lost Sam. Sam's already got the long distance stare. But go ahead. Anybody else? You have questions or?
Tracy had a question, I think, and then we had some shares and other questions.
Hey, Tracy.
I wanted to just say I concur about the, like, it feels like I'm more in alignment and I'm making
Mhm.
better choices, and like the body just feels, it's interesting. Every time I work with angels, and I don't do it sometimes because the body feels depleted, but
Yeah.
it always, and I think, well, maybe that's too strong of an energy, but then afterwards I feel stronger.
Yeah, it's you could say it's like the energy that animates us. Like it's not the energy itself, but it like encourages that energy, or you could even say like protects it a little bit. You know, we would maybe say life force, but I would say there's even more to it. And you know, and there's in the Buddhist tradition, there is a being that is associated with like prosperity, and like one of the tendencies, like when you invoke this being, it protects the light. Like it protects the light within you, it protects the divine spark within you, keeps it from getting like dirty or diminished. And I would say the angels are very similar vibe to that. You know, the energy of that being is a little bit different, but it's the same like effect. You know, it has this like not protective, like, oh, it's going to keep me from being around, you know, mean people or feeling their energy, but it's, you know, life can throw you curveballs and life can throw you punches sometimes. And like working with the angels kind of keeps everything flowing, keeps everything moving, keeps everything in perspective, you could say.
What is the being in Buddhist?
In the Buddhist tradition, it's Kubera. Yeah, like sometimes they'll call Jambala, who is the Buddha of the North. They'll refer to Kubera as the same, and they might be, again, their energies with consciousness. It's not like they're a big giant person walking around, but the energy of Kubera and Jambala are a bit different. I mean, even Jambala, there's different kinds. There's different colors of Jambala. And so you could say Kubera is like one of the colors of Jambala. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, those are for like what you would do to like strengthen the body, strengthen your ability to get stuff done, strengthen prosperity, your ability to like thrive in normal everyday life. And yeah.
Is
Yeah.
there, I mean, I know we talked about back when we did the zodiac class, like going through each zodiac sign.
Mhm.
Is that still like kind of a good way to do it?
Oh yeah. Like you could do that. I mean, if you want to focus on one, you could do that. But like, are you thinking just to work the zodiac things, or you're thinking of like the thing with prosperity that we're talking about right now, or
The getting things done and the strengthening of the body is like really important to me right now because, well, I need to get this stuff done and my body needs to be strong to be able to.
chant Rama, chant Om Rama, Om
Okay.
Rama Om.
Thank you.
Yeah, like think of your like the different parts of your body. And the body mapping class should help quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
You know like how we just did, I don't know if you were here, but like we did it last night too, where we did your awareness on the different parts of your body and visualizing a color.
Yeah, I was in the star just a few minutes ago.
How
That
did that how did
oh,
that feel?
it was beautiful, and I just kept thinking of Joseph's coat of many colors. I'm like,
The
oh,
body mapping is that on steroids and then some more steroids.
oh, nice.
Like that is like a very soft version of it, but you know, even when I just do the color, the thing that we just did, um, the color on the different parts of the body, I'll notice like I'm walking better, I'm standing straighter, my body doesn't ache as much or at all. Like things that were hurting, the pain goes down. I feel a little bit calmer. Not that I was feeling anxious, but I'm like, there's less tension in my body. Like it just goes down. And, part of that is how we think we generate lower emotions isn't necessarily like you think something or feel something. It's generated in the body, and there's like this like storehouse of things that we've kind of stored over a period of time. And when you go through and you do that, you diminish that like storehouse of these like negative or lower emotions. And in different parts of the body, they kind of rise up and overstimulate that part of the body, and then it causes like a lower emotional response, and then it's reflected in your aura. That's like has like you could say like a vibrational resonance that either attracts or repels things. It basically is physicalizing something or not allowing something to happen based on this resonance. So cleaning your aura is good, but cleaning the thing that we're addressing is like a deep dive on cleaning not just the aura, but what causes the aura not to be clean. And it's not always just like, oh, I don't feel good or I got upset. It's this energy that you could say even ties into some of the karmic imagery that eventually will manifest. And so it's very, very interesting. In the Buddhist tradition, like I was raised Catholic, but I'm a pluralist or whatever you want to call it, where I just do a bunch of different things, right? And so, I don't know if you've seen me in person. Sometimes I have like this apron, like this Buddhist apron, and then I have a thing that goes over my chest, and things that go on my arms, and then there's a particular thing that I hold in my hand, and then there's, depending on what I'm doing, there's a different tool that I would use in the hand. And the Christian version of that is, oh, and then a hat, like I have a helmet that I wear. And the Christian version of that is the armor of the Lord. You know how they talk about that in the Bible? Like you have the belt of truth and the breastplate of, whatever, the helmet of salvation. And it's tied to unwinding those influences on the different parts of the body that has to do with like your spiritual development or the resistances of the body to the soul. And so by going through and working these areas, like you're refining the body so that the body is in harmony with the soul rather than resistant. For everybody, like the nature of the motions of mind conductive to the soul, the nature of the body for everybody is resistant to the soul. You have to work that body to make it conductive to the soul. Like it just doesn't happen. Like some people, it happens faster if they've done it in previous incarnations, but every incarnation you have to go through and temper the body. So you see, like in traditions, like even Christ, you see he's born, you see him walking around like 8 or 9, and then he disappears for a while, right? Like when you see a great Buddhist teacher, they come in, they're born, they're doing things for a little bit, and then you see them like they're gone in a cave for a little while. It's to temper the body, like it's to turn the body from being an adversary to an ally. Like it becomes like an ally, like it becomes part of how you rapidly heal or rapidly grow spiritually. And so it's tied to these things that we're going to be talking about. I mean, we touched on it in the vagus nerve class. We touched on it quite a bit actually, but this is taking that a bit deeper. Yeah. I gotta say, I never thought in a million years I'd be able to teach this. Like without the pandemic, I don't know that this would have came out. I mean, point blank.
I'm
It would
very
have maybe been
sure.
taught to like a handful of people at most.
One of the things I've noticed is the body's been very agitated, and so in class and everything, for the most part, for I don't know 6 months or so,
Uh-huh.
it's been hard for me to just be
Mhm.
and sit quietly in meditation. My mind always wants me doing something, and it feels
Yeah.
very much like what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
since this last weekend's class, like I can just sit and do nothing,
Yeah.
and
Isn't it nice?
yeah,
And like sometimes like when the things that we're talking about are unregulated, you could say it's partially what you would call stress, it's partially what you would call anxiety or panic, it's partially what you would call things by other names. It's not like anxiety or panic doesn't cover all of it, or stress doesn't cover all of it, but it's like the mothership of all that stuff, if you know what I mean.
yeah, it feels like agitation.
Yeah. Yeah. The agitation, even though you feel it in your body, is coming from below your feet.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the whole thing with um in the Buddhist tradition, Garuda comes down and with its talons. Garuda is this like bird-like animal that the love aspect of God rides. And he grabs the snake with his talons. And so even the idea of the peacock with the cobra, the peacock would represent the higher essence coming down and purifying that area below your feet. even like you see with the Mexican flag, you know, the eagle standing on a rock with a snake in its mouth. That's what that symbolizes. I mean, it's in a bunch of different traditions.
Would that be also the Thunderbird?
Yeah, Thunderbird would be a version of that as well. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Thunderbird represents like spontaneous activity or transformation, and you could say that it's hard being around the Thunderbird because change is going to happen whether you like it or not. And it could also be the Phoenix, like in some of the Kundalini practices where they have, you know, paintings and things of the Phoenix. You know, different versions of it in different places, but they're all talking about the same thing.
Thanks, Greg.
And we're doing it in like a simple, straightforward way, and even teaching like a deeper practice when you're doing the stillness. You know how like when you're doing Lama yoga or when we're doing oils and you go, okay, put your awareness on the situation, feel it in your body. Now you have like a map to go to, like, okay, I'm feeling hurt feelings. I'm feeling upset in this situation. Now you can go, so I need to go to this part of my body. Like it's almost like these buttons that you can push to release the lower emotion. It's the inner practice of what you would do with Lama Yoga or Dhyan or Zen. You know, you take it deeper into the body. You start working these like areas or these triggers.
I had this like vision when we were in the star thing with the colors, and it was switching on or off like a light switch.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a lot like what it's like. Yeah, it's and then you start fleshing out, you know, the things that are agitating or the tension in the body, and then eventually even karmic imagery. You know? Yeah.
thank you. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm excited about that we're getting to do it, and then there's times where I'm blown away that we're doing it, because never in a million years did I think we'd be doing this. Never in a million years. You asked me 3 or 4 years ago, I'd like, it'll never happen. Maybe when I'm really, really old or something. But you know, the pandemic really changed things. Some good, some not
increment.
so good, but you know, it changed things.
Thank you.
And then go ahead, Peggy, and then we have some shares and questions.
Mhm.
Again, in the chat, I didn't spell it correctly, but is the Kubera also Cupid from a different, is it the same?
I don't think so. I think Cupid's more an angel, and this is like a Buddha. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. There were shares.
Yeah, I'm just finding them. After the toning of the angel makes me smile.
Mhm.
Another peaceful, soothing, with a kind of reassuring quality to Barkiel's energy. Question: how long does a practice with angels continue to unfold?
It depends. You know, at first it probably doesn't unfold for very long. You know, that class that we did over the weekend, it's kind of like a very general way to work angels. And we're going to do, like, we're going to build on it in the end of September. And so the more you kind of work it, the longer the effect and the longer the unwinding. I remember when I first started working with angels, it would maybe unfold for like an hour or two or something. It wasn't very long. And then it started lasting longer and longer. But I wasn't prepped the way that we kind of get prepped in the classes here, and so it should last for a while. But eventually, it starts lasting longer and longer, and then it just becomes like almost like a normal rhythm that kind of comes through you.
What color is Cubera, please? And how do you work with the energy?
With Kubera, I'd say at first just maybe chant Kubera. What color is it? The skin represented in Kubera?
Hi, Greg.
Hey, hey.
You mentioned you were saying that Kubera is color of Jambala just now.
It sometimes is an aspect of Jambala. Even Ganesha can be an aspect of Jambala in the Buddhist tradition, not in the Hindu tradition, but in the Buddhist tradition. In fact, I had a statue that I don't know if I sent you a picture yet, but I have like a 300-year-old Ganesha that I wanted to show you.
Oh, wow. Nice.
It's got ruby eyes, by the way.
Oh, fancy.
Um,
And the reason
Right.
I'm asking because of the Jambala, the tanka that I have.
Oh, that's Jambala. That's the golden Jambala.
Okay.
Kubera usually looks a little different, and I want to say sometimes he gold, but a lot of times I think if I remember right, he's black.
Okay.
Yeah, like black, black skin, black clothes. The blackness or the color sometimes is more about the alchemical process associated with each of the beings, not so much the literal color. Like it's tied to, like I would say, Kubera is much more purifying, much more purifying than the golden Jambala. The golden Jambala is more stimulating, like it's more like strengthening, fortifying, stimulating, stabilizing. So yeah.
Thank you. And since I'm talking, can I just share about the class was amazing.
Oh, good.
The dreams on Sunday night, however, they were full on, but I would say a little bit violent even. So but just almost like out of very interesting, not scary, but almost like out of
The
control.
violent might be the storm coming your guys' way. You like that's I was talking to Sam about a couple of different situations, and sometimes when the active clairvoyance gets turned on, you'll start perceiving things before they come in, but you don't know quite what they are. But like you can sense like something's about to happen, something's about to go down, or I've told the story where like I haven't talked to somebody in a couple of years, and I'll wake up and like that jerk,
I have that.
and then that day they call up and they do some snotty or say some snotty thing, and I was like, yeah, felt it coming, and the more you pay attention to it, it's like it really kind of starts to turn into a kind of premonition, like where it's like, okay, heads up, this is coming your way, so you can adjust yourself. Sometimes it's not something you can necessarily get away from, like if I don't do this, like then that's not going to happen, but you can be prepared for it and handle it in a way that's non-reactive rather than reactive, and also have a strategy or be a little bit prepared for it.
Yeah, we were prepared for this. After
Yeah.
last time, we were
Like
prepared.
it just seemed like not too long ago you guys had the last hurricane, and so
Yeah, after
yeah.
that. Okay, that's good to know about that. So
Yeah, like this is what I would say about that as well, is I was in those tornadoes that happened in Alabama about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever that was, the ones that killed like 300 people or whatever. And the energy of that storm was incredibly violent, like incredibly violent. It took not because I was like stressed or scared. I mean, I was kind of in a safe place. I was concerned for some of the students, but other than that, I didn't think the storm was going to get us or something. But it took about a week to 10 days to shed that violence out of the body. And it was a storm, it wasn't a person. It's nature can be part of the what feels like an attack sometimes.
I do feel it today,
Yeah,
even though we
yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
get hit, but we barely slept last night because it was
Yeah,
like
but it's still like in your
energy.
vicinity. Even if it's a couple hundred miles away, it's like that vibe is still there. You know what I mean?
But no, we got tropical storm winds and
Oh,
lots of
did you really?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were and flooding around us a little bit, but nothing like last year. But anyway, yes. And one thing that I've been noticing after the class on the weekend, there is a deeper presence, deeper state of presence and acceptance, and
Mm,
almost like even in that kind of goal of the future or what I want, almost like the surrendering to the universe, surrendering to almost like getting, not having an agenda per se, if that
right,
makes
right,
sense.
right.
Just allowing, like what you said earlier today, allowing for things to unfold,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
like without resisting, without trying to control.
Right. Very good. That's very good.
So that's beautiful. Hopefully it lasts longer than a day. But
Yeah. No,
thank you.
And go ahead, Troy.
Hey, Troy.
Yeah, you just didn't mean to. Okay. Go ahead, Deborah.
Hey, Deborah.
Hey, Greg. So I had a very different response to the storm. It felt like purification for me.
Oh, good.
Um,
In
and
a
I
good way, you mean, right?
sorry?
In a good way?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
The processing to get to that point was very bizarre. Like the experience with my energy and everything, I didn't know where it was going. But by the afternoon, I was up and moving and in a different state of mind than I've been in a while. And at various times, I would look out the window, and the front window, there were 5 very large crows
Mm,
at my front door. Not at the door itself, they were out in the rain.
mm,
And then later in the afternoon, there was a dragonfly, a very large dragonfly that was at my window. It wouldn't go away. It was like eye to eye with me. And, I've been trying to call in nature.
mm,
And I thought, here was after the angels. And right after we had the angel experience, I was the one who said that there's a flock of black birds that are all around my my lake right behind my house. And they kept moving towards my house. And I'd never seen that here. So it's like I feel like things are unfolding, and I just need to be in a very much an observing kind
oh,
of
good. Yeah, that's a
state.
good place to be. Yeah.
Yeah, for whatever, because the movement of my energy this morning was something I've never experienced before. So thank you.
Oh, good, good, good.
I don't know if it's closely enough related, but can you tell us about Milarepa? He keeps popping up for me for some reason, but I don't feel like what I'm finding out about him really makes sense.
Milarepa is a Buddhist saint that went from being like an ordinary person that was sinning quite substantially to spiritually growing and evolving what would normally take 5, 6 lifetimes. He did it all in one lifetime. And so you could say he's the Buddhist saint associated with rapid spiritual development. You know, there's this old saying, what one man can do, another man can do. I think the modern version would be what one person could do, another person could do. But yeah.
Slightly off topic, but kind of like a question. Would a class on karma and its management be an appropriate consideration for a future class? In the various classes I've taken, you drop
Yeah.
literal gems that I would like to
Yeah.
know so much more about.
Probably better woven into stuff. I mean, we're doing things like even the body mapping class is a way to unwind some of the karmic imagery. And we'll be going down that road very much, but to talk about literally like the kinds of karmas and things. We could do it, but that would be a little bit of a rough class. Like not necessarily, I don't know. Not everything that we experience that we think is karma, for one. And two, good to kind of work on it, but not be consumed by it. And, you know, just my little minute, tiny experiences of seeing something in the past. It's very upsetting, and it's very, very, very disorienting. And so a little bit better to deal with the things in front of you rather than looking back. You know, my joke is, you know, sometimes people were naughty or even worse. You know, like I'm saying this for myself. Maybe I was a politician. Ugh. You know, I joke, but I don't know. It's probably not a joke, you know. And just even like tapping into that, it's very upsetting. So kind of best to deal with just like the things at hand rather than trying to look too far back. It'll come when it's ready, but I had one experience where something came through from the past, and it wasn't even like a karma, it was just a realization. You know, I had an insight, and it was pretty upsetting, and it even wasn't that bad. But think about like all your thoughts and feelings make sense to you. You know, even if they're bad ones, they make sense to you because you had experiences. These things come in and it's like somebody slipped you acid or something. Like you have no reference, and the feelings aren't always positive, you know. Even if they're positive, they're mixed with a bunch of negative. And so better to do it through the imagery because it's safe, it's soft, it's gentle. Yeah. That's what I would say about it. I asked a teacher one time, I want to see my karma or this or that of something from the past. And he just looked at me very quiet and he said, no, you don't. I was like, no, I do. And then he looked at me and he goes, no, you don't. And just the feeling that I was getting talking to him, I was like, you're right, I don't. I'm sorry I asked. Like, I don't want to know. I'll know eventually, but maybe not right now. But anyway, like think of it like this. You know, I've told this story a bunch of times. You know, say you're in the kitchen, you're chopping vegetables and you're cutting vegetables and you're doing your thing, you got your music on and you're doing your thing, and then boom, you cut your hand. And it hurts, it's bleeding, you clean it up, you get it bandaged, you stop the bleeding, the next day you look at it, you have this big open wound, but it's not bleeding anymore. A couple of days goes by, it's puffy, but it's starting to close. And then a week or two goes by and it's almost closed, still puffy, kind of hurts when you move your hand around. Then A month goes by, it's healed, but it might still hurt a little bit, but you can still see the big like gash on the hand. And then a year goes by, it doesn't hurt anymore, but you look down, you see the scar, like, and you go, oh, I remember that event, right? And then 5 years goes by, the scar is fading, but you can see it, and it's not really in your mind anymore, but you look down, you go, oh, yeah, I remember that. 20 years goes by, you look at your hand, you don't really think of it, and the scar is faded. Like, you really don't even see the scar. So really, all the effects of everything that happened have really faded away physically. There's no really memory of it, unless somebody says, hey, remember that time, or whatever. So you really don't remember it anymore. But every time you're in the kitchen, you're super careful with the knife, because one time you cut yourself. Think of it like this: what are the things in your life that you're super careful about, or that you avoid a little bit? That's where the karma's at. Like, I know a lot about politics, and I don't want to look at politics. I don't care. I don't choose sides, but I'm fascinated by it at the same time. I love looking at the strategies. I don't even care about the sides. I just like watching the strategies. That's weird. That's super weird. But I stay away from it because I was naughty one time. I was probably very, very naughty. So
And they're just clarifying, I'm not looking for my past, but how to manage the suffering in the present, how to clean what is available to clean, how to make
Yeah.
karma
Yeah,
more about evolution and less about suffering.
we're doing it in the classes, especially the ones in the last few months and the ones over the next few months. We're dealing with karmic imagery and right on there with it.
Good questions, guys.
Yeah. Let's still fit in just a little tiny bit of a practice. How about we'll do middle of page 3, number 5. So your cedar, your catrophe, rhododendron, spine blend, or stagnation blend. And since we just did the thing with Barkael, how about we'll do angel awareness. You're inhaling the oil, and let's focus on Barkael. Your probably reference is just going to be the name, so just try to tone into the energy of the name, or the energy that you felt when I toned the name. Take nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Which one you doing there, spine? You're focusing on that angel. Now move your awareness to the body. Just wherever you feel something in your body. your shins, your calves, your back, your jaws. Move your awareness to the spine. And then just be still. Keep your eyes closed. Just be still for a moment. Keep that bottle handy, but be still. Bor. Koi. Il. Bor. Koi. Il. Your awareness is on that same angel, and you're taking long, slow, deep breaths. Keep inhaling on the angel. Stay focused on the angel. Bor. Koi. Il. Keep inhaling. Bor. Koi. Il. Your awareness is on the body. You're just focused on the body. You're inhaling the oil with your awareness on your body. Whatever spot jumps out at you, Bor. Koi. Il. Your awareness is on your spine. Bar Kai Eo. Just be still, let it all go. Hey, you guys. Move around, notice how you feel. Well, it's not the study group that I thought was going to happen tonight, but that's what study groups are for. I have those unexpected conversations. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good weekend off. And remember, next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're doing our study groups again. And hopefully, I'll see some of you during the body mapping class next weekend. Very exciting. So, you guys take care.